what happened again when Delphi came to visit?
She called me and said, you know, and I've always visited her, and she'd visit me wherever I was, and you know, and I said, yeah, but I'm going steady with the gal. And says, oh, well, I said, no, but you're welcome to come. I said, because she's got a place, and I said, I said, you got to see this place I got anyway on Haight Street. It's up, I haven't opened the art gallery yet, you know. And I'd only started going with your mother, you know. So she said, I said, but you could take my place, you know, you can stay. She was going to be in San Francisco for about 4 or 5 days, and then she had to go on. She was with a troupe traveling, you know, doing Auntie Mame. Who was in it with her? Mercedes McCambridge or somebody like that, or anyway, she played the friend of Auntie Mame, you know, the
Delphi Lawrence did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so she was doing that, and she was going to be able to be in the Bay Area for I think it was about 4 or 5 days. So I said, you know, you're welcome. I got the place. I said, it don't matter, you know. And I told her I was going steady. I said, I'll just stay over at her place, you know, and you can have this. It's fine, you know. And so I told your mother all about it, you know, and everything. And she thought, oh, that's wonderful. I like to meet your friends and all that shit, you know. And so it comes. I'm cooking. I told you that great long narrow kitchen. And the living room's here, and there's a little dinette, which is all open, and then the kitchen goes this way, and that's closed off, you know. There's no door on it, but the other place is so big you can't see around the corner, you know, where it is. Mm-hmm. So I'm in there cooking, and Delphi is in there with me, you know. And those were my drinking days, too. So everybody's boozing. And I was cooking, and Delphi came in. Then she would go back out, and then she would come in and talk. And every time she came in, we'd talk about things that were funny and that we remembered, you know, and we'd be laughing. Your mother's out here getting real hot over, you know, real angry, and I don't even think about it.
Was she in the living room with Richard?
Yeah, with Richard talking. And I invited Richard that night for dinner so that Delphi wouldn't be alone, you know. And all of a sudden, your mother gets absolutely rambunctious, and she starts giving me hell. You son of a bitch! What was I doing? I'm just cooking. I mean, she's coming in and out of the thing. When she came out, they seemed to be all right. You know, she never said anything to her. But she was getting more and more jealous every time Delphi went in back to talk to me. So I'm trying to reason with her, and no. She storms out, puts on her coat and storms. She had a leopard, one of those fake leopard dresses, you know, what do you call that? With the tight. Yeah, is that the line? All the way tight, all the way down, you know, like leopard. She had a maxi-length white leather coat, and this other thing was black and white leopard. She was really something with that long blonde hair and everything.
Did she have the go-go boots on?
Yeah, she slams out. So we go ahead with the meal, you know. I fix a meal and finish it, and the three of us sit and eat. And right about the time we're just about finished eating, here comes a knock on the door. And when you got off the elevator there was just a few steps, and there was the door, and then there was a foyer. So I opened the door and stepped back in the foyer, into the foyer. She leaped right up in the air like a fucking panther or a leopard. She leapt right up and lit on top of me. She got, and I was standing up. She went right, And I went down naturally. She went, but she came, and it looked so funny, her coming at me like a leopard. I thought, I couldn't stop laughing. And she was on top of me on the floor, and she starts hitting me and flailing me, and I couldn't stop laughing. And that infuriated her because she wasn't hurting me, she was making me laugh. Finally, Richard come and got her off me. And then she ran and jumped up on those window seats and started kicking the window. I think she kicked one window out or something. But she was really going meshuggah there. And so Richard took her home. And so that was that. Well, I ain't been going with her that long. She was a comparatively new acquaintance. So I figured, well, that's that. Man, that woman's wild. She's too much. So I had a few day holiday there with Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went on, as usual. She was gone, and I went ahead with my business, So I kept working. I was framing the art gallery. I covered the walls way up high with Pecky cedar and all kinds of shit. I made it look the way I wanted, and it was great. It's just what I wanted. Anyway, that took time. In the meantime, one day I get a phone call. I didn't hear from Marilyn, for I don't know, a month or two. I don't remember. It's a lot, a considerable time. And I more or less put her out of my mind, except I could never put out of my mind that experience I just told you about. But anyway, I get a call and she says, "We were in a head-on collision, and I'm in the hospital, and Tracy's in the hospital, and Daryl, and they got big scars. They're trying, and all that." And says, "I'm coming home today. Can I come see you?" I said, "Come on." That's the beginning of a great romance, my friend. This is that's all. That was the beginning. Imagine what the end is,